Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave can tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave can tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, but now slowly creeping its way across the world. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I am the storyteller of St. Pete by Night, or of Rage Across Tampa as well, and the Tampaverse as a whole. And that being said, it is Tuesday night, and that means it's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in Tampa Bay, Florida. But before we get to all that, we have some very, very exciting announcements. One of those being that we have a new merch shop. You can follow the link down below in the description to access that merch shop. We have all sorts of styles and wearing things and colors and all this just really, really fun stuff. So go check it out. It is very reasonably priced, and we have made sure that is the case. So go check it out and pick up some St. Pete by Night merch and support the channel and support the Tampaverse and support all the things we have going on here. Also, as another announcement, we have ongoing auditions for our actual plays. So if you've ever wanted to be a part of the Tampaverse, now's your chance, but you're going to want to hurry up because we have some pretty incredible auditionees already. So get your name in the running for a spot in the Tampaverse, or potentially a third Tampaverse Chronicle that could be starting next year. Let's take a look at the ad. All right. So let's get everybody caught up to where we are now. Last week, Jace introduced Jester to the Ratkin, but also learned some very, very vital and important information. Perhaps a warning, perhaps some insight into what he'd already been dreading. Also, Aspen met with Matthias, but in that meeting, she also met a new arrival to town by the name of Suni, who seems to be a little bit more than meets the eye, and hopefully she hopes to uncover the secrets of what Suni might be hiding. Then we saw Jace and Charles have a conversation and a competition at the gun range where Jace did end up on the shorter end, but the bond between the two of them grew stronger, and Jace learned a little bit more about the rather reserved Silverfang Arun. Then Aspen took Jester to meet Spud, since it was a week of introductions for Jester. She met not only the Ratkin and Spud, the Thin Blood, but in the conversation with Spud, they seemed to come up with a potential solution that could help with the formula or the iron issue that they're trying to create that could help spread over a wide area. So as Spud goes to investigate that, we come to this week, and let's get our story started with our first scene. Jester and Jace. Jace, you've been wanting to get closer to your pack mates, and you've wanted to tap in to that wolf side a little bit more, as was advised by Eliza. And so, Jester decides to take you for a hunt in your lupus form. And while the hunt was strenuous, exhausting, something you're not used to, especially being out in a very rural area as opposed to the more urban environment, eventually you have to take a break, and the two of you start heading back towards the cairn. Even though you've been in Florida for a little while, it's still much hotter this time of year than you would be used to coming from Columbus, Ohio, where you get, winter, actual winter. So with the 75-degree temperature beating down upon you, you stop to rest, shifting both of you back into your lupus forms, and the scene is yours.
I need a break. It's December, right? Like it just became December.
Yeah.
Then why is it so freaking hot out
Welcome
here?
to Tampa, or welcome to Florida, really.
Does it
I heard
get
it
cold?
snows in the north of Florida sometimes.
And I was not warned about the amount of swamp ass that I would get while being here. I'm gonna invest in a pair of shorts, like rip away shorts, and I'll just frolic around in just like my underwear if need be.
Okay. So you're going for the stripper attire then?
I've thought about it.
Might actually be useful as Garu, but
Breakaway stuff, rip. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if there's a Chippendales here, but we'll look into it. Get Charles to do that.
apparently there's sex clubs over in St. Pete, so
Cool.
that's
I don't
according
wanna,
to
like-
Artie and Aspen.
Okay, now that makes sense. Living with them, no, that makes sense that they would know that. I was gonna ask, just gonna pry a little bit how you knew, but nope, that tracks with them.
What, you think I wouldn't go to a sex club?
No, I just feel like that. I feel like a sex club wouldn't be your thing. I feel like you. I don't know. Have you been to a sex club?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. A little bit more than a sex club.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Not with Charles though. I can almost guarantee that.
That's fair, actually. No.
Yeah. Actually, like, I need this story now.
Just trying to tuck that away for later.
Hmm. I had a nice chat with Charles recently. Man's got so many freaking walls up that and as soon as you get through one, he reinforces it and you can't break in the same way you did the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. He doesn't want to show weakness, and emotions are weakness.
Sound like you've heard that a lot.
Quite a bit.
I challenged him to a shooting competition. The reward for it was if I beat him, he'd have to sing a duet, go and do karaoke and do a duet with you.
I take it you lost.
I was so close, Jeff. I was so close. But we were playing a game so I could get to know him a little bit more. And I got so caught up on what I was getting that I lost track and focus and I fucked it up. So, but I will get him. I think seeing you both do a duet, or if I can get him to do a solo and then record it and not tell him about it, then I can hold it over his head forever. And then upload it to the cloud upon a cloud upon a cloud, so that way he doesn't get it.
You know, he just asked Artie to do it, right?
Well, I'm gonna ask. Well, I feel like Artie would want to help me out on keeping that video because it'd just be fun to like bring up to him when he's being a little shit or a big shit in his instance.
No, Artie probably want to keep that video. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll stop and take a look around. Thanks for bringing me out here, though.
As you observe the woods around you, despite the heat, the closer you get to the cairn, things grow a little bit more temperate. There's a nice breeze in the air that's rustling through the trees and the leaves. You can hear the sounds of birds overhead, but as far as any ground-based animals, you've been out here for hours and you've not found a single thing yet.
Take a deep breath. Scanning it. You're welcome. Surprised you wanted to do it.
Where I'm from, there's a lot of diverse areas, but there were people, there's more of us in that area, so we had different groups for different areas to kind of patrol and go and do these different things. So I didn't really have to go into my lupus or my hispo form like ever really. I did it more when I like first getting into the whole guru side of it and learning that, but I never had to utilize it, I guess. But here with the much slimmer numbers and embracing all parts of who I am, I feel like it is something I need to get used to. And the rest of you utilize all the different forms really, really well. I just find myself lacking in that area and just shutting myself off to it. And I had some words of encouragement that I need to embrace that side a little bit more.
I wouldn't say all of us were comfortable with it at first. Aspen didn't even want to change at all, I think. Definitely not Krynos, and definitely like not Lupus. She only really started hunting recently. To remember Aiden. Charles still thinks of it as a tool, so you guys have that in common. It's not a tool though. You do know that, right? Like it is a tool, just as much as point to our homing forms. This is a tool, but still a part of us. I look at it like this. We expect the lupus born to adapt and to think of all the complex bullshit of being human to interact with us, yet we don't try to figure out that side of us, even though it's a part of us now.
That's very insightful. It's valid points. I try not to view it as a tool. It's just that part that's in my head that I am human. That it just it's what I'm comfortable with. It's something I can utilize more often.
Yeah, and you were born human, so that makes sense. But it's always good to go out and go for runs. Even don't even have to hunt. Just feel the wind in your fur.
I've done a few hikes, I guess you could call them. I more ran on a trail for about 100 meters and I called it good. So I sprinted for a moment in my lupus form. That counts, right? That's still time in lupus. So,
that still counts. Baby steps, baby steps.
Do all hunts end in a dud like this? Or I guess not all, but do most?
Not most. I mean, probably like good half, like 50-50 probably.
That's not too bad. If it's a area that's well traveled, then it makes sense why we're not seeing too much.
Well, yeah, we're probably gonna we'd have to go farther out a little from the cairn.
All right, so what's the biggest thing you've hunted, like animal wise, not other thing, but biggest animal you've gone after?
Size or danger?
We'll go danger. That sounds fun.
Probably a toss up between an alligator and a bear.
You went up against a bear?
Couple times. It gave me really good hits though.
It's a bear. Damn. Just when I thought, like, Jester, she's a total badass. You up the ante a little bit. You fought a couple nonchalant. Yeah, I fought a couple bears. No big deal. I'm basically Davy Crockett. That's cool. Whatever. It's just a Saturday.
That was just me trying to get out excessive anger, so it didn't blow up in inopportune times. Hunting things I could fight back. What's not to be angry about when you look at the state of the world?
You make a fair point.
Jace, why are you looking into Baitman so hard?
For one, I don't like a leech running a city that I'm in. That I'm not comfortable in that overall setting. And the things that I've heard that have happened to this pack because of the leeches, having someone that has that sort of power and be able to just wave their hand and make things happen like that, I feel like needs to be taken care of, or at least be controlled.
Wait, you were in Columbus. Were there no leeches in Columbus?
There are, not like they are here though. And they're heavily monitored. They're looked after. They're little groups scattered around. They're not nearly as organized as they are here. Or organized, I guess. We're organized prior to what's her face getting killed.
Okay. Are you just gathering information at the moment? Or are you planning on doing something?
You know, I told you I was in the works of something.
Mm-hmm.
And then how versed are you with like the French Revolutionary War?
Let them eat cake?
So the people there were upset about how things were ran, that they had to basically scrounge and starve because the higher ups had all the food. They were able to have these feasts. They were able to have parties, while the lower class sat there and had to scrounge and had to make do with what was there. I'm seeing a very close similarity to what's going on here. If you can turn the major populace against the ones who are holding the leash, they then can yank the leash away and be free. The treaty that is in place makes it so we can't do anything to them directly. Them going and turning against each other, I feel like isn't hurting anything.
No, that is fair. But how are you gonna start a vampire revolution?
That part I'm still working out. Skeeter giving the little bit of insight on different things, and then how things are tight as far as the areas that they're able to keep in, but they're going outside these areas. If we can convince some that they should be treated better, all you have to do is ignite that powder keg and it will start going off. I just got to find the right ignition source.
Okay. So you're definitely not planning for it to be you or us.
No.
We've kind of been their boogeymen.
No.
Especially for the ones living on the streets over the past few months.
No, I merely plan to provide the instruments that are needed to implement it, but I don't plan on getting involved. More like the man behind the curtain that's running the machine that's actually in charge of the puppets. That'd be me.
You know there's a word for that, right?
Yeah, but I don't like that term.
You don't like puppet master?
I don't.
Okay.
Way too much control.
But you just like said that word in just a very long 2-sentence explanation.
How
you said
I
the band
portray
behind
it.
the curtain running the puppets. So like you're still doing the same thing. So like the word has like that context because of what it does.
Yes, but words have a lot of power, and I choose not to put that title on myself.
But you're still going to do the thing that title implies.
In a sense, it'll be fine.
Okay.
And I plan to keep everyone up to date on how it goes. I don't know how well it's going to be received by everyone, but I know that we have a lot of things going on right now. So it's on the back burner, but it's something that I might start pushing here and there. Unless you think it's a bad idea.
I mean, it's clever. Just this is probably gonna invoke some feelings after what's happened to you recently, but do you have anybody close to you in the city that's not connected to us?
I did. I haven't seen him for a long time though. Moses was someone that I guess Moses, not Moses, but he was someone that I would go and talk to, and he would let me know kind of things that were going on in the city, and he was someone that I could be Jace, the nice guy on the street with. But as far as him, no, everyone else is dead or gone.
You should protect him if you're gonna play this game with Bateman. Because he plays this game very well. And he's not afraid to go after anyone. Even if it's just for a client of his. He plays dirty. I think you've heard the name Leon passed around, right?
I have.
Before he even knew I was Garu, a werewolf. Bateman got to Leon, who was my boyfriend at the time, and he mentally manipulated him. And I think over a period of time during our little war, he continued to do it, turned him against me, and got him to drink his blood and become a ghoul, thrall, whatever you want to call him. And then either he or Mary sent Leon to try to assassinate Eliza. I don't think they actually figured it'd work out. I think it was just to fuck with me. And that's because I was speaking out against his client, Endron. Like I said,
Hetty.
before he even knew. So, if you want to do this, it's a clever idea. Make sure that the people you care about are protected. Because he will go after them.
I hadn't considered that.
I know. Usually takes a little experience to even consider it.
I don't even know where the guy is. Last time I talked to him, I had the staff. He was crawling around in a dumpster. And he was at the bar and then went and talked with Artie briefly, and then he was gone.
You're good at finding secrets.
Yeah, I'll track him down and see where he went. If anything, he left the city. things he talked about previous. I don't know if it was him or the one inside, but he talked about all these long distance travels that he did. But he had been in Tampa for a while. Before I move forward with this idea, I'll find him. Then I'll be sure to run it by the boss lady. Make sure I get the okay before just, starting a leech revolution or something. And then she hears about it. And then she, eventually finds out that I had something to do with it. And I get yelled at again.
It's probably a good idea.
Although I could say this time, Jester said it was a good idea. So I just went forward with it and just bring you in there with me.
I said it was clever. I didn't say it was a good idea.
You didn't say not to do it either, though. So
No, I didn't. I said it was clever and it could be a very good idea, but I didn't say fully it was a good idea.
fair. All right. You, you bring a good point. But
since you're involved in all this and have the rat cannon involved in this, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, what's up?
The person they were talking about in rehab that Bateman brought, that's my mom.
Oh, okay.
I can't go see her because he'll know. But I would like to know if she's okay. She's still being watched. She's probably still being watched. Let's be real. Like a check-in on her. Could you do that?
Yeah, do that. It shouldn't be too hard if she's at a rehab center.
I don't know the name of it. I just know it's in St. Pete.
Well, if Skeeter gave you that information, I'm sure he knows more. So
He gave me the information that Bateman brought her here, but he didn't give me the information that he was here. I already knew that.
okay. Yeah, I can look into it for you. If I can, are you wanting her to possibly get out of there if she is being watched?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Just some information. Easy enough.
So, what'd you and Charles talk about?
Cars, girls, video games, typical guy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was really, really talkative about it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No,
Did he
the
talk about
topic
how
of,
he, his upholstery on his car or something?
we did talk about his suit and how much I think he's a pretentious douchebag when he wears it. And he gave a nice little low growl to put me back in my place. So that was nice of him instead of hitting me or shooting me. We talked about his childhood overall. Most of the time when we go like do any form of training or anything, he'd always going like through them, almost through the motions, like he's been doing this for eons and eons. So I was asking him on how his childhood was and going on about that. And then how fucked his upbringing. First time he got hit by an adult, like most people would think, hey, you're probably a teen. No, your man was 10 when he got hit by an adult. Like, learned to take a hit. And his first time actually doing like physical combat was at the age of 9.
Yeah.
Oh, also, he doesn't know his fucking birthday. So I told him to just pick a day, and he says birthdays are dumb and I don't need to celebrate another rotation around the sun. So I gave him the idea that how about we celebrate all of the accolades that he did in a single year instead of him being a year older. And he didn't deny it, the idea of it. But he doesn't know when his birthday is, which I don't understand how that happened, but he just didn't celebrate it ever.
He told you he didn't know his birthday.
Yeah.
Good for him. I'm trying to find it. His birthday. It's taking a little longer and being a more complicated than I'd like, but it's a process.
Jess, are you wanting help with that too?
You know, I had considered asking Rat a while back, but I already owe Rat a favor, and owing him 2 favors would seem a little excessive, especially when he hasn't had me pay the first one back. Artie got me. You're good at secrets, right? Because he doesn't know I'm doing this
Yeah, I
at
dabble.
the moment. It's gonna end up knowing that I'm going, but Artie got me and him, I guess, me and Artie, a audience with King Albrecht. So was
Wow.
gonna go ask, Grandpa directly. Because hopefully at least he would know when his grandchild was born.
You're gonna go meet him and you're gonna ask him about Charles?
Yeah.
You have such a big heart. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm a little warm and fuzzy thinking about that. I don't know what I would ask at meeting him. If you're wanting additional information and you want me to look into it, I can. That kind of stuff is usually pretty easy to get a hold of. If Artie was able to get somewhere, we'll see what I'm able to pick up.
Artie wasn't able to get the birthday, but she was able to, or he was able to get the audience, which, I mean, honestly, hopefully we're not going to waste it on just asking about the birthday, and we'll take other things to him as well.
Yeah, you don't get you get one question and that is all. Yeah, that would not be great. That's super cool though. I didn't know Artie had that kind of pull.
When he left for a while earlier this year, he went and met a lot of the different Septs and schmoozed his way in his Artie way of like making friends.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So we also talked about how he asked me about my birthday and my favorite one. I told him about a surprise party. He told me he would hate a surprise party. It would make me very happy to throw him a surprise party, but we need to make sure that he has no weaponry on him. And he did the dumb thing of like, if we do this, you can't have things on you, no weapon. And he looks down at his fist like, I'm always armed, in his Charles way.
You've only been having firearms training with him, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm not fighting him.
Like, he wasn't being a show off.
I've seen what he does to others, and he's able to rip them apart without going into his big craziness. I don't need that to be happening to me. I like my joints where they're at.
then maybe if we, because I was already planning on having him a party when I found his birthday. Maybe instead of like a big thing where everybody hops out and says surprise, it's just a surprise party where we lead him to a place where we can have a party that he doesn't know about. That could be a surprise. It doesn't have to be like a sudden surprise because usually people who have been hit when they're 10 tend to have very like aggressive instincts like that on surprises and sudden movements.
You're right. We did discuss something like that, but he did talk about his how humble he is with how composed he is all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the idea of throwing him apart. I think I hate the fact that I enjoy his company as much as I do, but I also feel bad for him that he hasn't experienced. And that's another thing we talked about, experiences that he's missing out on, and how he's so focused on the job and wanting to provide so much for others, but not wanting to embrace his own enjoyments of things. A party for him, a celebration for him, I think would go a long way. So I'm totally on board with you. Start getting the party to help and get it all planned. Anywhere you need help, just let me know.
Definitely. I could use another co-conspirator.
I got you. And if we want to do like explosions in the background just to really scare him, I can make that happen too. But like poppets and stuff like that, I'm not talking like bombs. Like I guess if we really needed it, I can make that happen too, but more like just confetti.
Good, because I'm pretty sure like a lot of explosions would probably also disturb Xander, and he's already hard enough to calm down.
Yeah, how's he doing?
Comes and goes. He's built a treehouse.
Saw that.
So he's a little more stable and lucid a lot, but there's still times it's pretty bad. Usually at night.
I'm still a little weary about him. I also feel for the guy.
I think everybody is. I don't know. I'm going to have a phone call soon with a pack in Virginia, maybe to figure out where this old Karen could be or could have been. Just maybe if I
Okay.
can get one part fixed, could go a long way to helping everything else.
The thing that I do is I'll sometimes try and put myself in someone's situation to understand it better. But being that alone, I don't know. Like his reaction to what he's going through, I understand the best I can. But just some of the things he said when we were in that cave, it just kind of sits in the back of my mind. The down, 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 and the constant carvings and him uh just in general kind of freaks me out. And not to be mean, he's just kind of a creepy dude.
Yeah, he's kind of creepy, but he's also very lost.
Yes. Yeah. No. Well, hopefully in Virginia, you're able to find something.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm gonna be kind of lost as well on what to do.
Jace, can you give me a composure and wisdom roll, please?
Rage 1.
Yeah, I think so.
Three.
As you're talking with Jester, your eyes are drawn to movement in the trees beyond. They're pulled specifically to a very deep, dark shadow that is cast by one of the trees. Now, because of how densely packed most of the trees are, not a lot of sun makes its way through in general. It's kind of always got a cast of shade in some of the deeper part of the woods. But this particular shadow seems darker than the others. And what pulls your eyes to it are a pair of red glowing eyes within the deep of the shadow. Now it is mid-afternoon, so this is especially startling, but when you focus more on it, you see the outline of a face, that face being a feral lupus face. But what distinctly separates this face from any other lupus form that you've seen is the decayed rot along one half of their face, exposing the skeleton beneath, carving up not just across their jaw, but across one of their eyes and up over their head, leaving an ear missing entirely. You're taken back to your dreams, your memories, when you encountered such a figure who called themselves the Guide. And while they have made sparse appearances in your dreams before, you've never seen them in the real world.
They'll stop and where they're walking and just look at the shadow and then reach back towards Jester and then point the shadow next to the tree, the darker one. Tell me what you see.
Jester, you don't see anything. Just another shadow and another tree.
Just shadows and trees.
You hang out here for just a second. Just want to go
You
take
gonna
a
be
look.
okay?
I'll scream if something happens.
Okay.
He'll walk towards a little shyly, like kind of like really taking in everything around the area so you're understanding what's going on, but make his way up.
As you proceed toward the tree, the figure pulls its head back into the shadows to the point that it's obscuring your vision, the fact that you can't see it. And as soon as you reach that bend around the tree, there's nothing in the shadow.
I'm gonna pop numbral senses.
You activate the sense. Go ahead and make the roll. Now the difficulty's fairly low, but you are more towards the outskirts of the bawn. So the gauntlet is a little bit thicker than it would be in the dead center of the cairn.
That's 5.
Easy enough. The transition happens almost seamlessly with a blink. You get that photo negative laid over a photo, but things are different for sure. The wild claims this place. Looking again towards the shadow, there's nothing to be seen.
The tree that he was by, is there any markings or anything on the tree?
No.
While he's still looking out, I saw you. I don't know what message you're trying to convey to me, but reach out whenever you're in need and we can have a talk. And he'll stand up at that point and turn off the senses.
Are we
Turn back around. Sorry.
are we near enough to the cairn for my penumbral sense thing to still work?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. It's not as reliable and not as strong as it normally would be, but it's still, you're within the bond, so it does count. And you can see when you focus the spiritual side of things, the taller trees, the richer landscape, the occasional popping up of a spirit or two moving across the area.
Okay.
Get up and turn around and walk back. Think of finicky spirit. I'm not sure.
Jace, roll me a manipulation and subterfuge. You are very much lying. Wits and insight for you, Jester.
Or
2.
Must have been a finicky spirit, as he said.
Guess it could be shy.
yeah, maybe you scared it off. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
It definitely wasn't me. I'm the one that saw it, so you know. But
Yeah, well,
how
maybe
they
it just
how they
wanted
are.
to talk to you.
Well, maybe. I told it if it needs to talk to me, it knows where to find me. I've been I don't know if you saw my Magnus Opus. I have created a round table for the spirits of the area. I'm planning on having a gathering at some point to talk to all the ones in the area, just so I can better understand what's going on.
Yeah, I saw you working on that. Didn't quite know what it was before, but that makes sense. That's kind of cool.
It's got my own little flair to it. Liza told me I should organize it better, but I think for my own round table, it needs to be for me. She can make her own damn table if need be.
Aw, Jace, Eliza doesn't need a round table. She just wanders around and talks to them. Like the little old hippie she is.
It's not fair how she magnets them all to her when I need to talk to one and she's in the middle of a conversation. But she's also been at this much longer than I have.
She has. And as much as she claims that like they have rights to be mad at her, they know her around here. I think they were worried about her when she was not well. At least some of them. Others probably are mad at her still.
Yeah, a decade's a long time.
Yeah.
Jester, roll me a wits and awareness.
Three successes? Yeah, 3.
Some distance away, maybe 100 feet, maybe more, you hear a rustling in the underbrush. And then turning to face it, you see a rabbit poke its head out of the underbrush before going dashing off.
We still got a moment. There's prey.
But he'll look towards the direction. We're so close. Fine. He'll drop down into Lupus.
I'll shift into Lupus as well.
As the two of you go taking off, chasing after the rabbit, Jace, I want you to roll me a wits and survival, but you can take a bonus die from Jester as she is helping you in this hunt to determine how successful it ends up being.
Also, remember you get 2 extra dice for being in Lupus.
True.
Thank you. That's 5.
It is a successful hunt. You are able to track down and, with Jester's help, subdue the prey. A successful hunt can bring a sense of pride and joy, especially the first one, the first successful hunt. But there's that nagging at the back of your head. Why did you see the guide? How did you see the guide? What did it mean? Now we transition to our next scene. We find ourselves at the Armature Works, a popular gathering spot for Aspen, especially when she's attempting to get to know somebody or make a connection with someone unfamiliar. Aspen, what brings you to the Armature Works this time?
Well, Aspen had an interesting conversation with Matthias, but before the conversation, she met a woman that said they were from Arizona. She was told a silent strider, maybe. But leaving Matthias's, strange things happened. A strange conversation happened, and an interesting way into the Umbra that she's not seen before. So she's quite intrigued, a little taken back, and not quite sure what to make of it. Is it a threat? Is it a newcomer? So getting more information from this new werewolf, Suni, is needed. And she said she would reach out and have a conversation with her properly. So Armature Work seems the best way to do it.
So having exchanged a few messages with Suni as you had passed each other your numbers, you head to the Armature Works to meet her. Now, it is a large concrete and brick building that was once a factory or a repair shop for the trolley system some time ago, but since then it has been completely repurposed into an almost open market area with various food stalls and people hawking their wares, a community gathering place, kind of like those of town squares of times of old. Outside, there are manicured lawns. Some of them have these large chess boards set out for human chess, or the kind with the large plastic pieces that can be moved about. And the market is almost always populated and busy, which works to your advantage sometimes, but when you get into deeper conversations, it can work against you. Now, the last time you were here was when you negotiated with Edward Bateman. So as you approach the market, you feel maybe a little bit of paranoia going in, as you know that Bateman had secured the area, which means he's very aware of it and very aware of your interest in it. But giving a quick glance around, you don't see anything that puts you on edge. You don't see anyone prowling the rooftops. You don't see anyone paying particular attention to you. Now, you'd set a meet time to meet with Suni. And as you arrive, looking around at first, you don't see her at the spot you'd hoped to meet her. Give me a wits and awareness check.
I'm assuming rage 1, yes?
Yes.
Two.
You decide to pass, go into the Armature Works itself. Maybe she had gone to pick up some food or was looking around, or maybe she just didn't understand the meeting location you'd given her. So as you start to wander, you end up passing by a Southwestern grill stall. Someone who claims to make the best Southwestern food in Florida. But as you pass, a familiar voice hits your ear as you hear, no. This is not Southwestern by any means. You'd have to add a particular sauce. Let me show you. And as you look over in that direction, you see Suni has moved behind the counter and seems to be educating the stall owner on how to make a proper Southwestern grill.
I'm going to head that direction, trying not to make a huge scene, and wave and go, "Oh, Suni, I wouldn't worry about that place. There's actually a really good burger place right over here. Trust me, I come here often."
As Suni hears your voice and looks over in your direction, she gives a very broad smile, almost with a tinge of wryness, like she's been caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Now, Suni is a woman in her mid to late 20s. She's got a very, very tan skin and is almost always dressed with some sort of turquoise jewelry, whether it's a beaded bracelet around her wrist or a pendant around her neck. She's dressed in very casual attire, similar to what you'd seen before, a open button-up shirt that's tied at the bottom over a midriff tank top and some long baggy cargo pants that go down to what appear to be sandals on this particular meeting. Seeing you, she just says, "Just keep at it. You'll get it eventually," to the cook before she passes through over to the other side. "Aspen, lovely to see you. I see that you've caught me educating."
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, people get a little put out by those type of things. So I would just be a little careful. It is Florida, and people get a little bitey here.
Anyone who's not open to learning is doing themselves a disservice, but you make a valid point. Although I would at least request that they take the Southwestern off the sign if they're going to claim that's what it is. But that's neither here nor there. This burger place, show me.
Of course, and I'll walk her over to the burger place, and I'll actually order for both of us, get us both like a bacon cheeseburger with fries, and I'll pay for it. And I would like to walk her to a bench, like a table bench, similar to where I met Jester for the first time, off away from people, closer to like the wooded area.
So the armature works butts up against the Hillsborough River. Now, it's the same river that could lead all the way up to the cairn, conveniently enough, but in this particular instance, it creates a nice river walk for the armature works. And there is this nice sidewalk that is perfectly paved, not a lot of cracks or damage done to it, clearly upkept regularly and a recent installation. But there are several park benches along the path, and picking one that's a little bit further away from the armature works at large, you know that there are people out on the lawn still enjoying themselves, but you find one that is distant enough away that it'll provide a little bit more space and seclusion. As you approach the bench, Suni is chewing on fries and pulling them away to look at them for a moment before stuffing them back in her mouth, and she takes a seat on the bench, crossing her legs and digging into her meal. "I'm so glad we're doing this, but I'm curious, what did you want to meet about?"
Well, number one, having a new face and not being properly introduced, I think would be a disservice to you.
Dias was telling me that you are the Sept leader of the area, and you know your manners so well, and I can say so far I am impressed.
I appreciate that, and I'm really glad you decided to meet.
Well, I couldn't ignore my generous host and their hospitality. But yes, let's get to know each other.
Absolutely. You said you were from Arizona, yes?
Yes.
Is there a big community there, or is it kind of small?
It's a little widespread over a vast area, but we have some collections that find spots in the desert to call home.
That's amazing. And what made you come down here? I mean, besides, I'm sure you've heard some things of the wild situation we have, but what in particular?
Always found Florida intriguing. I assumed it was solely the territory of the Gators, but when word had started to reach even as far west as Arizona of the deeds being done here, well, let's just say curiosity got the better of me, and I never like to stay in one place for too long anyway.
Fair enough. Silent Shredder, was it?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, tell me more about your travels. Tell me.
Well, I mostly stuck to the Southwest, visiting the Four Corners and places like that, but when I see something or hear something particularly intriguing, it'll take me as far as I need to go. Like a puzzle missing a piece, and you know where that piece is. You just have to go see it for yourself. And this place, well, I'm sure you're not unfamiliar, is making quite an impression.
Well, I hope mostly good ones.
Oh, of course. I would think nothing else. I mean, I'm sure there are those that grumble about your less than traditional manner, but if it's not working, you have to try something new. And I think we can both agree it wasn't working.
I completely agree. I think that, well, that's what we're doing here. So I'm glad you agree with that, and I appreciate you coming to see it for yourself.
Well, I see something developing. It's certainly not done, and it's got a long way to go, but with a sharp mind such as yours, someone who's open to input from others, at least so Matthias told me, I could see this growing into something great.
I think so too. I appreciate that. You said that you thought this was home of the Gators. Did you mean that in like the general sense that this is Florida, or the other type of Gators?
In all senses of the word. Both
Have,
literal, metaphorical, and otherwise.
have you met many of them?
No, I can't say that I have had the pleasure. They don't really make it out to the desert as often. You don't see a lot of New Mexico gators.
Fair enough. I'm also
Have you?
surprised that. Oh no, not at all. Um, there's been some interesting developments in our area. New friendly faces, some not so friendly, but we're working on it. Um, but all things considered, I can tell you for sure I've not met many.
But you have met some.
I've met, we'll say some.
Sure, we'll say. Well, it's an interesting change of pace. The South gets generalized quite a bit, especially by those to the north, and we're all kind of lumped together. But I find a place like Florida to be unlike anywhere else in the South. You know, there are stereotypes about everywhere, but this place, its stereotypes don't quite describe the truth of it all. It's a melting pot of sorts, but also an escape, it seems. The tourist states are like that, I suppose.
There is something about Florida that brings all types, absolutely. And hopefully more is what I would hope for. If our reputation is good, as you say, hopefully we get more out here to see it.
Good is a manner of speaking, but I think it's good. I can't speak for everyone else, but I've seen a lot of places in far worse shape than this. So if that means anything.
Well, at least for us, the bar is a little bit above the floor, so that's great to hear.
The bar is as high or as low as you wish it to be. Don't let the perceptions of others dictate where you are.
I agree. I just think it's you have to have a sense of humor about these things, or else it all gets a little overwhelming.
Don't I know it? I will tell you this. Your more gentle approach is certainly surprising, especially since I'm used to seeing those with an iron fist or a strong grip, those who prefer brawn over brains, those who are very territorial and stubborn, set in their ways. So it was nice to see something contrary to that. But be aware. Others fear change. And this is a change. If I've heard about it as far out as I am, I can assure you there are others that have heard as well and are probably less than favorable.
I think when you're trying to change so much in such a small period and in such a small space, it's kind of hard to face that with a brick wall or, as you say, an iron fist. It doesn't bode well in those circumstances.
It doesn't, but it worked for a long time, or at least they thought it worked, when in truth it was just a herald to the coming collapse. But what they see as working is all that they remember.
It just goes with the climate that we see everywhere. A way of fear-mongering and anger is just a way to divide. It's not a way to unify.
That is certainly true. I'm surprised to see your liberal approach in a very conservative place, but it's refreshing.
I appreciate that. I am very interested in where you came from and you being here, and I'm very happy that you're here, and I'm excited to see a new face. And you being so warm, I want to be upfront with you about some interesting developments that I have come across.
Oh. So let's have some girl talk if it's going to be our first date and all.
Absolutely. I couldn't help but when I was leaving Mr. Morningkill's home, I couldn't help but overhear a conversation between you and your friend, companion, mate, I don't know.
Escort. So you heard that.
I did.
You can roll me a wits and insight.
Is she about to try to lie to me? Because then I can add another die.
No, she's not.
Okay.
This is actually just reading her body language and her face.
Okay. That's 3.
You can see a mixture of emotions cross her eyes, even though she keeps the same broad smile. It's calculating, rapidly calculating. At first, there's a bit of annoyance, but then it's replaced with the delight of a challenge, determination, and excitement. as if a game has begun. And what did you think?
Well, you had some very lovely things to say. But I'm interested of the context of that conversation coming on the heels. Well, what came on the heels afterwards made it much more interesting.
And what was that?
An interesting way of traveling.
I am a silent strider.
Matthias was my mentor. He's taught me a lot about the different ways of doing things, and that's something I've never heard of before.
Well, of course, we all have our secrets, our ways of doing things, and we were once a very tribe-focused society. I suppose there are some things that still exist in certain spaces.
Now, can I roll a wits and insight?
Yes.
I detect flies.
Yes.
Okay. Three.
It's odd what she's saying, but it's convincing enough to seem true. Especially the way she framed it. You're right. The Silver Fangs have their secrets, so that's not unusual. It is odd, certainly, that there are abilities of that magnitude, as the way all Guru have ever done the transition into the Umbra is that sidestep. But maybe there's something there. Maybe there's a truth to it.
Okay. That's actually really interesting. Do you mind expounding on that?
Well, you know that there are methods and rites, and that the rites can often take longer than the gifts. And sometimes, especially amongst my kind, we have to get somewhere fast. We can't take the time. Expedience is key. Now, I will admit, I didn't think I'd have any onlookers at the time. That tells me I have to be much more careful around here. But what's wrong with a little difference?
I don't think there's anything wrong with difference. I think it's intriguing. But I think it's also good to be cautious, especially with the environment that we have here.
As I'm learning.
But as I said, it is interesting what you can do. Is that something you would be willing or open to teaching to others? We are actually in a interesting predicament with Piney Point. I don't know if that was part of the rumors that you heard, but getting places quickly would actually be quite helpful for all of us.
Yes, I've heard that you've been having some troubles as of late. Unfortunately, what I do isn't something I can teach outside of my people. I'd love to, because of course I'm here to assist in any way I possibly can, but that doesn't mean there aren't ways that I can't help, especially in travel.
That would be very beneficial. And I would hope that you would stick around, at least see what everything is all about.
Well, as you'd heard in the conversation you weren't meant to hear, my escort is a little more apprehensive. And reasonably so. They come from an old way of thinking. They're being abundantly cautious about the whole ordeal. And to be fair, they're right to do so. They have had rough encounters with certain-minded individuals before. That being said, I am happy to help assuage those fears the more I witness and learn and see about the way things are done here.
Is he of your people too?
Not exactly.
So what is he?
I don't think it's fair of me to say, though I like gossip. That's like looking in someone else's underwear drawer when they're not home. He is a very private individual, and he prefers... Well, I wouldn't want to ruin that trust between him and you and I have just met.
It's more than fair. But he plans to do no harm here, right? The both of you. I think it's a fair question to ask since we've just met.
It's absolutely a fair question to ask, and I assure you, neither of us plans to do any harm. However, we have to be mindful of our own safety and security if the need arises, but you've given me no reason to.
Well, that's good. Is there any other reasons you've come here? Anything that maybe my friends could help with?
Well, I always like to learn something new, and what's happening here is very much new, to say the least. It's intriguing, and it has stoked my curiosity in a way that's rarely happened before. You have to understand, there's very little I don't know, but I don't know this.
How much do you know about us here?
Well, I know you're not the first to be here, but you are the first in quite some time. This place was viewed as lost, abandoned. Now I'm sure the Gators would take umbrage with that, but I'm sure they also didn't mind having some space. I know that you came here because, well, I don't exactly know why you came here. Why take on a place that so many others have forgotten or denied?
I think for all of us in our own way, we were pushed here, pulled here, however you want to look at it. I don't want to say some sort of divine intervention, but maybe a step lower than that. Maybe that's exactly what it was. It's hard to say. Now, I originally came here because I thought I was escaping somewhere else or finding a fresh start, a new start. And honestly, that's exactly what happened, but not in the way that I thought.
Interesting. So you felt drawn here, called here, a sense of purpose waiting for you?
You could say that. I got a call to come down here because of a friend, actually. And it seems that the spirits aligned with the idea. So
Spirits do work in mysterious ways, but it's fun interacting with them, seeing what they have planned But what made you choose to listen? What made you choose to answer the call? I'm sure you'd heard the stories of this place before. So why you? Why here?
I've never really thought about it too much, honestly. Came here with a friend. I came here with my friend Aiden and was quite content to kind of just be me and him alone. And they always, eventually, spirits find their way of catching up with you and putting you exactly where you need to be. I never really asked why. It just felt right when it all started to happen. We all came together. There was a purpose. There was someone in need, someone who needed us, needed our help. And I think we all were those people that don't question when someone needs help.
As I said, Florida seems like an escape. I'm curious though, how would you say this affects your leadership? Do you find yourself often basing it off of feeling, intuition, instinct? Or do you prefer a more methodical, logical approach?
I think you can't have one without the other. I
Be
think,
surprised.
well, to be an effective leader, to be a good leader, to be someone that others don't just look to as an authority, but as someone to lead them and to trust them and be trusted. I think you need both. You can be the most logical. I think I could come up with every plan and still not know exactly what to do. But I think you need to examine every option. But I think you also need to take into consideration the feelings of the people around you, and you need to trust your gut when it's telling you something's sat too long or something isn't right. It's all of it, it's all encompassing. It's just like we can't be one thing, it's not one thing.
Too true. Have you ever felt like your instinct, that intuition, led you wrong? Led you afoul or was problematic?
I think if we think about that too much, if we followed our intuition and it brought us to where we were and it maybe wasn't the exact outcome that we perceived to be the best outcome, it was still the outcome that was meant to happen. I think if having too much information leads too many paths, having not enough information makes you think that there's one path when there's several. I think intuition is a way to look at all of those paths and choose the one that feels right. Because at the end of the day, there's many paths. They're all going to lead to the same thing. It's just what path feels right.
Have you felt like you've been stuck from picking a path lately?
It's an interesting question. I don't think I'm stuck with picking a path. I think I'm trying to navigate what path is the most important.
How do you determine that?
Well, part of it is knowing what has the most consequences, which could be the hardest to combat in the future, what could do the most damage now. And the other part of it is listening to the people around me. I may be stuck on my own biases sometimes, on my own thoughts of what is the most important because of the way that I feel. And what stops me from that are the people around me keeping me grounded and keeping me from pursuing things that are only in my benefit and not the benefit of the whole.
Things like revenge.
Exactly.
You are intriguing to me, Aspen Weiss, I have to say. I have witnessed many guru, and I have seen the extremities, to be sure. Those who act without thinking, the impulsive, the reckless. But I've also seen those that think too much, and therefore become ineffectual. But you are walking a path somewhere in between, trying to find a balance, I suppose? Does it cause you to question yourself?
Every day. Every day.
There's a piece of wisdom I can impart upon you, if you're open to it.
Of course.
Once the decision is made and the path is walked, what's done is done. There's no going back. There's no second guessing or questioning what would have been best, what would have been right. You just have to go with the breeze, I suppose. Sometimes that can mean storms. She gets a little kind of glint in her eye and an extra wide smile when she says that. But sometimes it can mean sailing across the sea or even the desert. There's no going back. So whatever you decide, when you decide it, commit to that decision, no matter what. Don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Learn from it, certainly. That's unavoidable. But don't doubt it. Because doubt leads to mistakes. It leads to you straying from the path you've chose. To the point that what you had feared happening becomes inevitable. Be confident, I suppose is what I'm saying.
Okay. Be confident. Can you tell me why you're really here and what all of this is?
I suppose just like you, I was called here. So I answered.
Called by what?
Destiny, fate, or maybe just a spirit with a burr in their butt looking to stir things up.
Okay. Well, if you'd like, you could come meet the others and see what we're all about.
In due time. As friendly and sociable as I am, if you're this suspicious meeting me, I can't imagine what the others are like.
Well, you see something strange. You see a lot of strange things here, and not all of them are nice.
Let me promise you one thing. I am very nice. And my intentions, well, let's just say they're fun for all.
Gotta be honest, that's not really easing my mind. Fun doesn't necessarily mean good.
It's good if you're willing to let it be. It's good if you're open to the idea of that chaos isn't always necessarily a terrible thing. Sometimes it can work for you, just as much as it can work against you.
Well, in your case, is it working for us or against us?
So far, for us. You make a great first impression, Aspen Weiss. And the second impression isn't so bad either. But I would ask you this. What is your intuition telling you right now? What is your
That you're-
instinct telling you?
That you're not telling me the whole truth, but I don't see you as a danger.
Wonderful. Your intuition isn't lying. But I'm sure you don't lay out all your cards on a first meeting either.
Fair enough.
As that rapport grows, it makes room for more information, more truth. And you're doing a wonderful job of making the path.
Well, then more conversations.
Yes.
Take you to some other places. I know a lot of good food joints around here. Maybe you can bring your escort next time.
I think he's going to take a little bit more time to warm up, but I'll always make the offer at the very least. Just don't take me to one of those chain restaurants like Moe's or anything like that. They're fine, I suppose, but it's mass market.
Well, I know a great coffee shop if you're interested.
Do enjoy coffee.
Then next time, I hope to have more conversations and build this rapport, as you call it.
Too. Surprisingly, me too. I thought I was going to come out here and see a bunch of bluster and bravado and the same old you see when someone's trying to build a new kingdom. But I don't see you as a king or a queen. That doesn't seem your style. So it has encouraged me to stay a while and observe. And who knows? If all goes well, maybe I have some good news to bring back with me.
That's the hope.
Yes, it is. Anyway, she looks down to the burger container, which is mostly empty at this point. Enough about business. Maybe we just take a walk in a human's shoes for a little while.
Okay, but one more thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I'm absolutely intrigued by you, and I hate not having the whole story. So I'm going to use a back pocket thing that I got from my friend Jace. I will
Really?
share a secret with you if you share your secret with me. And it doesn't have to be today, just next time.
I have a lot of secrets, Aspen. How do you know that I'm going to share the one you really want?
Intuition.
Interesting. Well, how about we start with something small? Warm up to it.
I'm good with that.
They don't believe you. They think you are naive. They think you are too young. And some of them seek to take what you've built. That's small, isn't it?
It's a good one.
Your turn.
Okay, my secret. I don't know if it's a great secret, but if we're starting off small, I am terrified that they're right.
If they were, they would never have needed you. You would never have had to do this. It wouldn't be pieces. It would be a whole. But we both know it isn't. Your intuition is right about this. But there have been others with the same intuition. They failed. Find what makes you different than them. Now, I love magnets. Let's find a magnet.
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
And she stands up, and as she does so, she kind of throws the container from behind her back, and it sinks into the trash can. Shall we?
More and more intriguing the longer I spend with you. And yes, let's go.
So as the two of you go off to peruse the market, what's going through your mind?
Is a potential ally, but there's nerves of not knowing exactly everything about them. So there's always that small part of Aspen that is a necessary part of Aspen to never fully trust someone new until that trust is built. So as much as she enjoys her and finds her intriguing and fun and genuine in all the good ways, you never quite know. So she's going to approach this as warm and a potential ally and another one in Tampa, but there's going to be more conversations, many more conversations to build that trust and to unearth whatever she's not telling.
Intuition can quickly become nervousness, can quickly become paranoia. After everything that Aspen has been through, the times that she has been betrayed by others or herself, how much can she tell the difference anymore? That remains to be seen. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. Welcome back. As we return, we find Jester about to make a phone call. Jester, who's this phone call to and why?
I believe it's Trillium of the Virginia Sept, the one that Joseph Aspeaker returned to. I am calling them to see if in their histories or knowledge they remember an earthquake taking out another cairn, or just heard of an earthquake in the mountains in the last couple of centuries.
Okay.
It's a long shot, but
So as you fish out a piece of paper, the note that Joseph had left before he departed with how to contact him, where to reach him, put the phone number into your phone, and it rings a few times, a few long times. And instead of going to voicemail like you'd expect from a cell phone, it just keeps ringing. And then after about a minute and a half of waiting, you hear the receiver pick up. Hello?
hello. This is Malicious Jester. I was one of Joseph Ashspeaker's packmates in Tampa. Is this Trillium?
Yes, Jester. Oh, Joseph still talks about you to this very day. Hello, how are you?
Oh, you know, keeping pretty busy. Lots going on down here. How are you?
Well enough, all things considered. It's an endless struggle, but we stay as positive as we can.
Same. I was actually calling because there's something I'm working on, and it's led me to trying to find an old cairn in the mountains of Virginia. And I was wondering if you knew anything about an old cairn being falling or even an earthquake in the mountains. I know that it'd be very rare and odd, but I don't have any good area to narrow it down except the mountain area.
I see. Well, I can tell you that there are stories, songs about events similar to that, but with very little detail as to where and when. I believe the way it's told, it's meant to be a metaphor for the instability of things, that nothing good can last forever.
I would love to hear some of those stories or songs, honestly, just to add them to what I know.
I'd be more than happy to share them with you. But what you're asking seems very specific. What are you looking for?
We have come to believe that a spirit might still be trapped there, and it's been reaching out to someone here. White Bat?
There's a long pause on the other line before she speaks again. I know of the spirit you speak, at least stories. But that's from a very, very long time ago.
I know. Like I said, we've come to believe that this spirit might have recently awakened and is reaching out to someone here, and we think it might be hurt or trapped somewhere.
Interesting.
I believe you might know, like, those weird spirit quests that they give us.
I know all too well. Joseph, in fact, is on one of those quests right now, but I will make sure to pass along that you called.
Oh yeah, definitely. Tell them we all say hi.
Of course. As for White Bat, stories that I've heard were more like legends. Again, seemingly metaphorical, but if what you're saying is true, maybe there was a literal nature to it at one time that was lost over time. White Bat, as the story goes, was a metaphor for bat before their change, before we lost them to the worm, before their corruption. But I've always believed that perhaps White Bat separated themselves from Bat, as if their purity had fled them. It's also just as possible that there were two separate spirits, I suppose, but again, the tales get very hazy, very vague. They come from a time before. And to be honest, nobody knows where it started. I can't even trace back who heard it from whom.
I think that's kind of common with our kind.
It is the issues with an oral history. It changes. It shapes. Sometimes I fear that it loses the very core of what it was meant to teach or tell. But just like modern literature, everyone puts their own perspective, stresses what was important to them. And that can change the very narrative itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Does have me curious, though. There are places among the mountain range, places that even we don't dare to traverse. Whether it's because we wish to protect it and allow it to remain untouched by even us, let alone the humans or the Weaver. But then there are others. The deepest, darkest places. We tend to avoid those places merely because we don't have the numbers to purge such a place as that. There is one place, a place we call the Shrieking Canyon. Every attempt to go close to that place is met with the most disturbing and startling sound.
A shriek, I take it?
We never said we were clever for our naming scheme. But yes. Sometimes a shriek, sometimes some hear it as a wail. But every time, it disturbs us to our core, to anyone who hears it. And every theurge that we've sent to try and determine the sound. They become so disoriented that some have even been lost in the mountains for days, just wandering as if they couldn't find the way home again. Mountain Claw has forbid any within our sept to go into the Shrieking Cavern for fear of our already small sept growing even smaller. Of course, Joseph has had to be told multiple times of this, and even still, I believe there may be a day when he goes to seek it out. He's just biding his time until he can.
Would you be willing to share the location of this Shrieking Cavern?
Would you understand my hesitation in doing so?
Given the story you just told me, yes, I understand.
Would you also understand that there are those up here who don't necessarily look too favorably upon our friends to the south after certain events unfolded?
I know.
Can you afford to take such a risk, knowing how small your numbers are as well? And also, why?
Trying to save someone.
Who? If you don't mind me asking.
You don't know him. He recently changed and has been haunted by the voice of the worm, tortured. But he's also heard the shrieking of this bat that we think is White Bat. At least when consulting spirits we know, it's indicated that way.
I don't believe in lost causes, Jester. What I will tell you is if what you're saying is true, they may be drawn to the labyrinth, assuming they weren't there already. And if they are, if you try to chase them, you may meet a similar fate. But if I have learned anything from Joseph's stories about you, you'll do it anyway.
No one else reached a hand out to him. He was alone. I have to at least try. I think a lot of the times we fail or we lose because we are afraid to take the risks that we need to take in order to gain some ground.
That is true. Many of our people have begun to rest on their laurels. I will consider what you have said, but I will tell you this. If you wish to know the location, if you wish to go there, you will have to convince the council of this sept. For that is our territory, and Mountain Claw doesn't take kindly to intruders.
Understood. I also have been asked since I was going to call you to let you know of kind of the situation down here. We are facing off with a very, very strange type of enemy. And then I'll go into the explanation of the plants and Vanessa and Piney Point. I will be careful not to say Pentex over the phone, but will allude. So if she's in the know, she'll probably get it very easily. And the weird Fey thing that's apparently assisting.
As you're speaking, you almost hear her holding her breath, taken aback by what you describe. And as you finish describing, you hear whispered from the other side, Gaia, be good.
Yeah,
That is
insane.
quite a situation you find yourself in. I have seen the wild used in many ways, but to be corrupted to the degree that you describe.
We're making some headway, at least on some of it. We are, we know now that iron, cold iron in particular, is what can fully destroy the plants, like also fire and completely removing them from the ground. But like the creatures, iron works the best along with fire. Luckily, iron doesn't hurt us.
That
But we're
explains
also
the Silver Fang who came to visit us asking if we had any iron.
yeah.
That was a very short visit.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have been trying to seek out different sources of iron because it gets used up pretty quickly. We're also taking a very Aspen is taking a route of law. She's also building a case against the against Piney Point itself to try to really fight it on a more red tape kind of side. We have petitions. We would love if we could get some signatures from you guys at the very least, or anything else you could do to aid.
Well, I know that I am happy to help, especially with signatures. I'm sure everyone that can write in the Sept would be happy to sign.
That would be very much appreciated. And I mean, if there's anything else you guys could think of, like, we would appreciate it. But also, we understand that, like, especially after what happened last year, there may be a lot of hesitation, and we'd be willing to work out any sort of agreement to assist anything you guys need as well. And I want to give you a heads up. We had reached out to a sept in Michigan, and they had tried to help us secure some iron. However, when they were attacking a mine, they and 2 other septs fell to a black spiral dancer attack, a massive one. It seems that there is a very, very large group of black spiral dancers that have band together, are now working with a common goal.
Once again, there's a long pause on the other side.
You're closer to that area than we are, so I wanted you guys to have a heads up to just keep watch out. Don't know what they're planning or what they're doing, but maybe we know that someone in one of those septs was a traitor and gave the information out. But we still don't know if they just took advantage of it and laid an ambush, or if they're planning something else.
This news certainly complicates things. Maybe even more so in our ability to assist you. But consider this an invitation to come and be my guest. If you wish to make or plead a case, the only way to do so would be in person. In fact, I'm using the one phone we have in the Sept, and it took a while for us to get even that.
Thank you. Honestly, that's a lot, and thank you so much. I will get in contact with you when I can arrange to actually visit.
Yes. And bring any evidence you might have from Michigan with you. I can't say it's going to help your case for more assistance, but such a warning will go a long way in repairing whatever damage may have been done between our two sides.
I will. I'll try to gather as much as I can and bring it with me.
And I will begin planting seeds of what we've spoken about. Try and soften the old boulder. To sway him as much as I possibly can.
Thanks.
Please be careful. Look after yourselves. And if nothing else, should you need to retreat, I promise you a safe space here.
It's appreciated, and the same goes here. And look after yourselves.
We will. The mother watch over you.
You as well.
With that, the phone hangs up. What's going through Jester's mind after this conversation with Trillium?
A whole lot. So during the conversation, when Trillian had been talking about stories and such, she'd been scribbling around, and she'd actually underlined the shrieking cavern several times because it sounds like exactly what they're looking for. Now it's more like really need to talk to Stakes and Sean and try to start gathering evidence of what happened, that I could bring it to the Virginia Sept, as well as trying to figure out how to convince them to let me go into a cave that even people in their Sept is forbidden, while not seeming like some arrogant asshole coming in like, I'll fix this problem.
Sounds like there's a case to be made. And if there's anyone that can give you advice about arguing a case, it's your Sept leader. Speaking of that, let's transition now to the Sept leader. Aspen, you have watched your fiance have quite a journey over the time that you've known him. What started as a dreadlocked street boy with a knack for computers turned to romance, turned to a necessary separation over grief, turned to a transformation. But old habits die hard. And Artie has always had a fondness for energy drinks. But when does a fondness become something worse? When that is accentuated by caffeine pills and sleepless nights. And for a few weeks now, it's gotten worse and worse. You find yourself waking up to an empty bed more often than ever before. Now, that's not to say he's gone far, just to the living room, where his computers await. He has been toiling over creating some kind of mechanism to help with the distribution of iron, a weapon of sorts that could combat the plants while doing as minimal harm to the environment. Add on top of that the fact that his therapeutic abilities have been used quite a bit since his return, and all of the other responsibilities he shoulders. After the collapse of the moon bridge, that's when it seemed to ramp up more than ever. So, on one particular night, you wake up finding the bed empty once more. Now, his birthday is just a couple of days away, but there hasn't been a single discussion about it. If you've tried to bring it up, he shrugged it off, just saying there's too much to be done, and that you can celebrate when all this is over. But as you awaken, finding that side empty and cold, what's going through your mind?
I think she stays in bed for a little bit, for a few minutes, debating on whether or not this is the time to say it. With his birthday coming up, with everything he's been dealing with, like, do you say something now? But if you don't say something now, then are you ever going to? Is there ever going to be a right time to try to get through to him? So she sits there in bed and she kind of contemplates. She throws on a big t-shirt, stands in their brand new house. She looks at the box that the big new computer chair she bought for him, still sitting in the box where he would usually immediately, excitedly put it together and want to sit in it, is still sitting in the box. And she just leans on the wall and just stares at him for a while.
He's sat as he has been for several nights. A halo of blue light around his silhouette. The occasional tapping of keys, creating the only soundtrack, except for the sound of a can opening or a bottle rattling. He doesn't notice your presence, which is unusual, as he's always had a good sense of everything happening around him. But on this particular instance, he doesn't move, he doesn't acknowledge, he doesn't even seem aware.
Hey, you planning on coming to bed soon?
He shudders with a start, surprised by your voice, before he turns around and reaches up to pull off his glasses and rub his eyes. Yeah, what time is it?
Late. I've been in bed for a while.
Oh, yeah, just give me another minute. I'll come join you in a minute. You got an early day tomorrow. Don't let me keep you up.
She'll jerk like she's going to go back into the room, and then she flips back around. I'm already awake. Why don't we do something else? Why don't we work on putting your chair together? That old chair is awful. And if you're gonna sit in it all day, every day, for hours at a time, why don't we work on this? You've got a moment.
He looks down at the chair and then rubs his eyes once more and sighs. I've been meaning to get to that. Yeah, okay. And he pushes himself up from the chair and crosses over towards you. He takes the big box and drags it towards the center of the room. Scissors. Then
I got it. And she'll go run to the kitchen and go open a box that still hasn't been put away and grab just a kitchen knife.
Return with the knife. He takes it and slices open the box. He opens it, and then looking down at the chair that you bought, his features soften, and he looks like the man you know for just a moment. Not wrinkled, furrowed brow, not frown lines forming along his cheeks. And while there are still dark circles under his eyes, there's a moment of peace, of gratitude, of affection. This is really nice, Aspen.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it. I mean, you haven't really given me a lot of options for your birthday, so I figured something.
No, I can't believe it's December already. It's just... time has been moving so strange. After all of this started, it's just felt like it's been going too fast and too slow at the same time. Like I just can't catch up.
I get that feeling. I understand that.
Can't believe how long it's been. Since everything, since you guys arriving here, since Aiden. Still feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah. It's been one thing after another after that.
Yeah. He starts pulling pieces out of the box, but his heart's not entirely in it. You can tell that his mind is elsewhere, but it's almost like he's trained himself to be so mechanically apt at these sorts of things that it's almost on autopilot.
Meanwhile, she's opening the instructions and following them to a T, fumbling with stuff while, like, very often looking at him, seeing his kind of blank expression, putting things together. And to the point where she just kind of gets frustrated and she looks at him and goes, "So when are you coming back?"
What do you mean?
When are you really coming back?
I'm here, Aspen, as here as I possibly can be. I'm even more than I ever thought I could be. I'm trying so hard because I can't go through. I can't do it again at Piney Point. I almost lost you once. I'm not going to do it again. So I am going to make damn sure we have every inch covered, every corner covered, and that we can stay as far away from any fight as possible.
And if it does happen, if it does, which I will do everything I can to make sure it doesn't for any of us, but if it does, this is what you want it to be like?
Of course not. If I don't do this now, what if I'm just guaranteeing that it happens?
And if it happens anyways, you can do your work. You can be here for this. But is it worth it? Is that how you want it to be? That's what you want to remember?
We have forever together, Aspen. Isn't that the line we were sold when we, swore ourselves to the cairn? Or
So we're gonna wait till then? That's what you want?
no. But what am I supposed to do? I didn't work hard enough, and you lost him, and then I lost you.
And now I'm losing you. You're right, you did lose me. It was awful. But we didn't go through all of that together for me to lose you.
He goes like to instinctually reach for something in his pocket, but finding it empty, he looks over towards his desk where there is the pill bottle set upon, the cap already off.
You can't keep doing that. You can't keep doing this. It's not doing you any good. It's not doing anyone any good.
I'm almost there. I've almost got it.
You're
Damn.
always almost there, Artie. I've heard that so many times. And then it's one more thing, and then it's one more thing, and then it's just this last thing, and just a couple more things. It can't keep being things. I'm right here.
No. It's just, we don't have enough iron. Don't I'm not sure with what we have we can stop this.
And then we find another way, and then we find another way. It's what we've done. We're resilient. We figure it out. You and me, we've always figured it out. But you're not letting me be you and me. You're just being you on your own.
I'm really ashamed to admit it. But I'm constantly worried that I'm only here and thought of with any kind of respect because of us. That any greatness that people see is just a reflection of all the amazing things you do off of me. Sure, I can Google better than anyone else, and I can find things, but you'd all find it eventually, regardless. And if I am only going to be good at one or two things, I have to do them as best as I can to make up for all the amazing things that you and Jester and Jace and Charles and Eliza. I have to keep up or I'm gonna get left behind, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it for yourself that I'm falling behind, and you can't. You're gonna realize that you can't let me hold you back. Can't let that happen. I have to keep up with all of you, because if you're waiting for me, if I'm holding you back, we're gonna lose.
Artie, you're the only reason we can do all of these things. You're the only reason we're not falling apart. You're the only reason I'm not falling apart.
Takes in a deep breath. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry. I know you're right.
I don't have to be sorry. I just want you to be okay.
Guru, I'm always okay.
That's bullshit.
I'm afraid of what will happen if I stop. If I'm not useless now, I'm afraid I will be if I stop. And then I'm just one more thing for you to take care of. A distraction.
Artie, what you can do is amazing, and it's wonderful, and it's so helpful for all of us. But I don't love you because of what you can do. I love you because of who you are. And that's what's getting lost by you pushing yourself too hard. And I could do the leader thing. I could tell you, you have to take a break. And in all reality, you'd have to listen up. But I'm not doing that. Because this is you and me. This isn't about everything else. This is about me and you being okay, and us being okay together. You don't even want to build your chair.
Say that there's time for that after this is over, but It's just going to be one more thing. It's always going to be one more thing.
Exactly.
You know what? One of the first lessons they teach you about becoming a therapist is you have to go to therapy. And if you're not in it, you're not really doing your job. Because all the things that you carry around, all the things that you aren't doing that you should be, it'll affect your work. It'll affect clients. It'll interfere with your ability to do the good that you're trying to do. But who's the therapist for the werewolf therapist? Another werewolf? Where? Who? Can't exactly go talking about a spreading plant infestation that's killing people and turning them into goddamn DayZ zombies. They put me in an institution, I'm almost sure of it.
We're not your clients. We're not your projects. Of course, you help us through our things, but we can help you too. And I know we all have our own problems. That's kind of the point. But Eliza, she can help. I can help. Jester. We're all here. We've always been here. I mean, it's not like I had a therapist helping me when I was going through everything. I had you, I had Jester, I had the pack. I didn't have some crazy guru therapist telling me how to fix my problems. But you're not even talking about him.
The last thing you need to be worrying about right now.
You're the first thing I worry about. Always. And not because I have to, because I want to. Because you're important to me and that's what we should be doing. It's you and me, remember? That's why it means something.
Thought we agreed we weren't going to talk shop at home, but you're lawyering the shit out of me.
It just kind of bleeds through me. I don't know. I'm just like you're therapize me sometimes, you know, it goes back and forth.
I'm really scared, Aspen. This is not leeches, or I thought Bloody Mary was scary. And then to have one of my greatest accomplishments crumble the first time it's used, have to be destroyed because of the next scary threat up in the north spreading its way who knows where. If I let myself sit in it or think about it, if I'm not constantly distracted, I just feel like I can't stand. Like all of the support that holds me up is just crumbling. So that, gestures to the bottle, holds me up.
It's a crutch. Once that crutch is gone, you're not going to be able to stand anyways.
Can't do that right now. I can't be that right now.
You have to. Because I'm scared too. I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of everything we're dealing with. But what makes it important is that it's supposed to be for a future. And I want our kids to have them be proud of us and who we are. And the choices we make and what we overcome.
I'm desperately clinging to the idea that we're going to have a future, but it's very scary and seeming less and less likely the more these things happen, and I don't know what to do with that. How do you fight nature rising up against you? How do you fight an army of the most dangerous boogeymen we've ever heard about? How do we raise kids in a world that doesn't care? If I've seen anything over the past year, it's that they just don't care. They don't want it to get better. They want to steer into the skid and crash.
Because we need to show them that it's worth caring. For all the times we weren't taught, for all the things we've seen.
Go ahead and roll me a charisma and persuasion. Yes, you can add beauty. Yes, you can add your favor.
Seven.
He looks to you and stands up and walks over to the desk. He grabs the pill bottle, holding it for a moment before, with a shaking hand, grabbing the cap and putting it on top. He then reaches over to a mostly empty 12-pack of monsters and then picks it up and brings them over to you. He sets both down in front of you. Nothing means more to me in this entire world than you. And if it only means that I get a little bit longer before we have to become trees or whatever the fuck that entails, I would rather spend it as us. How we're supposed to be. It's gonna be hard. I barely scratched the surface of not having it on the road trip and felt like I was gonna die.
I'm here.
I love you, Aspen.
I love you too. And I'm never, ever too busy for you. And if you ever think that, you're wrong, because I'm not.
I know. I just have to get over my guilt of asking you. But for now, let's get rid of everything in the house. And I'll try.
Okay. And then we go to bed because I really don't want to build a fucking chair at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it looks a lot easier than it actually is. I thought no instructions, and then there was several pieces. I was like, I don't even know what this does.
This is why instructions are important. This is what I always talk about.
As usual, you're right. He reaches out and takes your hand. And as he touches you, his hand is warm. Genuinely warm. It's not a passing, fleeting touch. It's genuine. It's firm. But also surprisingly gentle. And as the two of you set out cleaning the house as best as possible, taking out every instance of accelerants, I suppose, that you can find, you come to learn just how bad it actually was. How many stashes there were. And looking in the ever-growing pile of things being gathered. It may not have killed him, but it would have destroyed him if he stayed on this pace. As the two of you head to bed, it now being almost 4 a.m., knowing that you're only gonna get maybe 3 hours with him before you have to get up, you have to continue. What's going through your mind?
I spend an extra, even with the 3 hours, I spend the extra time just brushing his hair and like scratching his back while he falls asleep. It's a step. It's a big step, and she's proud of him. And she's gonna do everything she possibly can to make sure he talks, and he talks about his feelings, because there's obviously still feelings there from, well, way back earlier this year with Aiden, with everything, and he needs to know that he's important and that he can express himself, and that taking a break doesn't mean you're useless. So she's going to go out of her way to make sure he has the support he needs.
And with that, we transition to our final scene of the evening. Jace, you had made plans to go check in on the Changelings after hearing from the Ratkin that there might be trouble headed their way, and that danger is a lot closer than you might think. When you called to give a heads up that you were on your way, or that you'd be visiting tomorrow, everything seemed fine. Ravi said they'd be happy to have you, and that he'd make sure to put the ramen on before you got there. But as you drive out in the mid-afternoon, you can smell smoke. And as you get closer, you can see plumes of black smoke rising from the direction of the bunker. As you hurriedly speed up the motorcycle, driving almost recklessly down the dirt path, you see the bunker completely collapsed. You see bodies laying out in the field, blood completely covering the grass and ground. Some of the bodies are almost unrecognizable as bodies from how much they've been torn and shredded. As you leap off of your motorcycle, barely remembering to turn it off and just letting it fall to its side, you go running towards the bunker. The doors that were holding the bunker shut were completely torn off. And you can see rending claw marks, massive, large claw marks, have torn through the metal of the door. The roof of the bunker has caved in, and there is a fire burning from where you knew to be their cooking area, causing the plumes of smoke that are rising in the sky. At first, as you look around what bodies there are strewn on the outside, you can't see Ravi. You identify some of them, one of them being the individual you followed that first night when you met Ravi. And with a brief count as best as you can, from the outside, there are 6 dead. But you knew that there were more inside. What do you do?
Looking around, taking in everything that's happening, going to send a message out to the pack, letting him brief what's going on, but then he is going to call Charles right away.
As the phone rings, it only rings once, as is often the custom, before it's picked up. Jace,
I need you now.
where are you?
I'm at the bunker. I got at least 6 dead. Front door. It was I can almost guarantee the big wolf was here. The roof
I'm
is
on my way.
collapsed in.
Be careful. Could still be in the area. Be prepared to run or hide. But I will be on my way.
He'll hang up, and at that point he'll pat his side, make sure his pistol's still there, and actually make his way down the stairs and take a look inside the bunker.
Roll me a wits and investigation.
Rage 2?
You're definitely at a rage 3 at this point.
3.
Seeing all of this, it spikes your rage hard.
Three.
Okay. With 3 successes, at first, you see that most of the bunk beds, cots, bedrolls have been completely shredded and destroyed. Almost immediately, in 2 of the bedrolls, you see a bloody mess, as if they didn't even make it out of their bedroll. As you're looking over everything, you hear a groan coming from underneath the rubble, collapsed midway all the way to the back. The smoke is mostly billowing out of what was the bunker, but some of it is still choking that far end, held in by what little containment remains.
I'm assuming the opening's big enough to squeeze through that door.
Yeah, you could also probably clear some of the rubble. Most of it is just broken pieces that have fallen down. But yeah, you're in the bunker now, having gone down the steps. It seems like the roof was collapsed about a third of the way in.
Gotcha. Okay. Start making his way in as careful as he can, making sure not to like bump anything to cause any further collapses or anything like that, but make his way over to the groaning.
Okay, as you draw closer, you can see blood pooling from beneath some of the rubble. And you see a hand sticking out. And it's a juvenile teenage hand. It's covered in blood and blackened char. And it is twitching and flexing slowly.
Gonna drop down to a knee, grab onto the hand. Hey, I'm here. Don't move too much. I'm gonna try and get you out.
You hear a very weak voice from beneath the rubble go, Sarah?
It's me. Just hold on. I start trying to remove some of the rubble the best I can.
Give me a strength and athletics.
Two.
Okay. It takes a great deal of effort and several tries. But eventually you're able to clear enough rubble off to expose Ravi. His face is a bloody mess, as there was a clearly deep gash at the top of his head, probably from falling rubble. And blood is just caking his entire face. As you continue to remove more of the rubble, you see a large, long piece of rebar from the concrete stabbed through his midsection. They came. We didn't see it coming.
I'm sorry. Try not to talk too much. I'm looking at the rebar. Overall prognosis if I were to remove the rebar.
You mean intelligence and medicine?
It's another 3.
If you were to remove the rebar, it will speed up the bleeding and probably kill him, most likely instantly. But with that same prognosis, unless he gets instant, and I mean immediate, medical care, he likely won't last the hour. As you're examining and still trying to move the rebar, or the different rubble, he reaches up and grabs your shirt, a bloody handprint being left. They took them. They took the others. You have to stop them. You have to save them, Sarah. He looks, his eyes very dull and glassy. You have to save them, Father.
That moment, he's going to grab onto his hand. He's going to... Ishu, if you can come out at any point right now, now would be the fucking time to do something and help.
No response.
He'll sit down next to him. I have help on the way. Pack knows. Charles is on his way now. I'll just be honest with you. You have a large piece of rebar stuck through you. If I were to remove that, you would bleed out much faster than you are.
Is that what that is? I thought it was just
Yeah.
a really big mosquito.
I think that would actually be a bit more beneficial right now, bud.
Promise me you'll help them. Sarah, this isn't the first time I've died. And it probably won't be the last. But if you don't help them, they won't come back. And they need to come back.
He'll squeeze his hand tighter. I don't make promises lightly, Robbie. But I will do my damnedest to get them out and save them. We have plans in effect. We'll get them. As many as we can.
Promise me. I need to know that you will do everything. That's all I ask.
Take a few deep breaths, look up at the open cavern above, and then look him in the eye. I promise I'll do everything I can.
Thank you for not just that, but for being kind, for taking care of us. I wish I could have seen you on the Silver Road and taken you to Turtle.
Let's say you still won't be there.
It's not how it works.
Well, thank you for
What?
showing me the path.
You will be there. And you will succeed. Father will guide you. Don't. He grabs the shirt. Don't blame him for this.
Okay. He'll squeeze his hand tight, and then both hands holding onto it. Is there anything I can do to make this easier on you?
The quick way. It's the best way. Pull the rebar out, please.
He'll squeeze his hand just a little bit tighter, then pat him on the shoulder. All right. He'll push himself up and go into Glabro.
As you grow in size, you realize just how small this bunker actually is by comparison, how they fit so many people. They must have really cared, because it would have been a struggle to fit and feed and survive in a space like this, but somehow they made do for as long as they could. As you grow, you wrap your hands around the rebar. Give me a strength and athletics.
That's 4 with a crit.
Quick and easy. With one pull, you yank the rebar from his chest, and a large gout of blood spatters out. He coughs a few more times, the blood running down his chin. Thank you. Goodbye. And then he slumps backwards. His eyes, though dull before, now just growing empty.
Toss the rebar off to the side. Drop down. Put his hand on his back. Goodbye, Ravi. At that point, you'll pick him up, take one more look around the bunker before walking out.
Looking around the bunker, other than the 2 at the entrance and the 6 outside, there are no more bodies to be found. Now you know there were more than a dozen of them upon last checking. Any others that were here either fled or were taken. As you get to the top of the stairs, it takes about 25 more minutes before you hear the luxury sedan belonging to Charles quickly driving down the road and tires screeching as he pulls into the dirt driveway. As you're there, you cradle the frail form of Ravi. He was only a boy of 13 with a soul that was much, much older. But looking down at him, you can only see the boy. The car quickly comes to a stop, and Charles steps out. He surveys the area as he's wont to do before he focuses on you. And not even stopping at the trunk to grab any weapons, he makes his way over and then kneels down next to you. There's nothing you could have done, even if you were here. We don't have the weapon yet. We would have just joined them.
I wish that made me feel better.
I understand why it doesn't. But maybe this will. We complete the weapon, one way or another. And we hunt that fucking dog down.
We'll look down at Ravi. kill the fucking dog. And then the bitch that commands it.
He nods. He places a hand on your shoulder in a surprisingly affectionate manner, especially coming from the ice princess that is Charles. He gives your shoulder a gentle squeeze. Sorry, Jace.
They deserved better. Robbie said that some were captured. Not all of them were killed. We have to get the other ones out.
We will. Take care of the dog. Then we go to Piney Point.
You help me bury him?
Yes. And as he stands up and goes to the trunk to fetch the shovel, this is where our story comes to a close this evening. But not, of course, without one final scene. Our scene takes us to the bedroom of Artie and Aspen. They're laying sound asleep in bed. Artie's sleeping deeper than he's probably slept in a very, very long time. We hear a buzzing, vibrating sound. Sound of a phone ringing. But because of the night's events and everything that unfolded, neither of them wakes up to hear it. We look to the side table next to the bed. It's Aspen's phone that's ringing. The caller ID says Son. S-O-N. We then cut away to a hospital in Oregon. Son is lying in a hospital bed, holding a cell phone to his ear. An older man with tan skin and gray hair that is long but is tied back and is thinning atop his head. He has a needle in his arm hooked up to a bag. We pull back to see a clipboard at the end of the bed. And on the clipboard, it says, Suncella, stage 4. And that's where our scene comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Stay tuned. We've got another episode of Hellhounds coming up this Friday, and then another episode of Rage Across Tampa next week. For these amazing players, Champ, Nori, and Preston, I am Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a lovely evening, everyone.